It always starts with color. That first breath of autumn, crisp and golden, and suddenly the woods are on fire. Scarlet and amber, rust and gold, the leaves flicker like embers in the sunlight. The air smells like apples and wood smoke and the sweet smell of fallen leaves, and every step down the trail feels like walking through a painting. This is my favorite time of year, the bright, fleeting days when everything feels alive and humming and full of possibility. But the seasons don't stay. We had our first freeze, and then another, and then another, and the brilliant canopy thinned almost overnight. And though there are still a few warm afternoons tucked here and there, we've already turned the corner into a new and darker season. Now the woods look different. Most of the leaves are down, scattered like paper across the forest floor. Bare branches scratch against a sky heavy with blue-gray clouds. The forest is pulling inward. You can feel it. It's getting ready for sleep. The delicate birds and animals have slipped away. Some have flown south, but others are tucked deep in their burrows beneath the leaves. The forest is quiet. It's been a season of change for me and my family too. My first loading dose of a new biologic, days filled with appointments and uncertainty, family illnesses, one crisis rolling into the next. And somewhere along the way, my brushes and paints were set aside. 2 weeks passed, and I barely touched my art supplies at all. And now, here I am, standing at the edge of a blank page, feeling a little stuck, a little unsure of how to begin again. But maybe that's okay. Maybe art, like the forest, has its own seasons, moments of bursting growth and vibrant color, and moments of rest, when the roots sink deeper and the surface goes still. Maybe this quiet space isn't an ending, but an invitation, a gentle nudge to slow down, breathe, and find my way back, one small, imperfect brushstroke at a time. Hello, everybody. It's Amy from Winterwood Studio, and we're going to be doing something a little different this week. I am in an art block, art slump, whatever you want to call it. So this week we are going to be doing our best to break through it. I have some fun things I'm going to show you that I am going to use to try to get through it. I'll explain how I got here. And I have one fun new thing to open to see if it helps out my art block. So grab yourself something nice to drink, come on in, and let's tackle this art block. And my hair is in my face again. I got bangs and it was a bad idea. Okay, go get yourself something to drink and I will be back in a minute. Okay, so how did I get here? Well, you know, I've had one really serious art block, and this is not that. I do already have a video up about that one that was like 6 months long, and it was really bad. And I talked about how I got through it, and I'll link that down below if you want to check that out. This is more of a milder art block or a milder art funk, and I've been struggling with it. I don't think the video's not up yet. I haven't even finished filming it, honestly, and this will probably go up first. But the last 2 years have been some of the hardest of my life. And then this summer into this early fall, it's October 3rd, have been really hard. And then the last 2 weeks have been really, really hard. And these last 2 weeks, I haven't really made any art at all. At the start, it wasn't because I didn't want to. I had, procedures and doctor appointments and was sick, and parents in the hospital, in-laws in the hospital, and reactions to infusions, and for me, and all sorts of really bad stuff. And what started as like just a few days of not doing art stretched, and like even in the last 3 weeks, like the week before this last 2 weeks, I think I only did one thing. So like I said, I've got this one thing to open. I had wanted to buy it earlier, but I had a problem that I needed to solve first, and I think I solved it, so we'll talk about that. But I also have, I don't think I've showed these before. I've had them for a while. These are art dice, and I can't read because of my vision. Inspiration for drawing and painting. Expect the unexpected. These are a lot of fun. We'll be looking at these. I also have the Sketchbook idea generator, mix and match prompts for your art practice. This I have shown on here before. This is a really fun thing to have and very useful. And you'll notice I keep saying fun. So I follow an artist. Her name is Naomi Tipping. on Instagram. This past August, she helped run the 3 materials challenge along with 2 other artists. I'm having a name blank, Catherine something, and I don't know. It's been hard, but all 3 of them are wonderful artists. I follow all of them. But Naomi Tipping, like I think a year ago, had the words "follow the fun" tattooed on her finger, and that really stuck with me. Because I tend to not follow the fun and take things too seriously. So I've been thinking a lot about like what I like and what I find fun. And I used to always make little books and like illustrate them in little zines because it was the 90s and stuff like that. And paint on my walls in my bedroom and all that sort of stuff. I'm not going to do that though. But I saw this book. This is the only birthday present I bought myself. It's called The Art of the Fold. And it's all different little kinds of books and pockets and how to make like pop-up flaps and all sorts of stuff. And that looked like a lot of fun too. And I'm going to try to break out of my slump. It is Friday. I didn't do anything all this week or all last week. And the week before, I think I did one sketch or something in my sketchbook. I'm really not where I need to be. I need to be drawing at least or painting at least 5 days out of 10 to stay creative. And once I get out of it, like the more I am out of it, the less I want to do it and the less like I want to show up and the more it seems like work and yada yada. So yeah, I've been having a rough time. So something else that I just noticed was here, and I've talked about this before. This is called Wintering: The Power of Rest and Retreat in Difficult Times. I've read this every year, 3 years in a row. I usually read it during winter or if I'm having a hard time, and I am definitely having a hard time. So I picked it up, and you can see my little sticker there, and started reading it the last couple of weeks. So yeah, so we're going to try to break through with some of these fun things. This is a good old-fashioned mishmash video like I used to do. The timestamps will be down below if you want to jump around. And the first thing that we're going to do is open this little package. It only has one thing in it. Well, it might be a set. I don't know. But I'm actually really excited about it. So it's not a set, I don't think. I got and I paid for this on my own, not sponsored or anything like that. It is the Himi Jelly Gouache. This is the divided cup, so smaller amounts of paint, but more colors. The 48 set. And the reason why I've tried getting Himi Gouache 2 times before, and I love the convenience of it. It's not light fast. Yes, they use a lot of binders. Yes, it can be a little chalky, but it's so convenient and so fun. And enjoyable to have all your colors like wet and out there in front of you. But both times that I got it, they molded pretty quick, like within 2 months or so, which was really disheartening. But I was talking to someone, and I already opened this. This is called the Himi It's a Spray Gouache, and it's a moisturizer for your gouache to keep it from drying out, but also I have heard that this helps prevent mold. Now, it doesn't say so on it, I don't think. It does say minimizes bacterial growth on it. Reactivates dried gouache, preserves gouache moisture, and it says, note, this product does not affect the color, saturation, consistency, or any other properties of the Himi Jelly Gouache itself. And it says, before closing your jelly gouache box cover, evenly spray an appropriate amount on the surface. So I went and found it on Amazon, and then I searched through, and there are multiple reviews stating what my friend said, that it does indeed prevent mold growth. So I splashed down on this. I believe with tax it was $30. But I'm really excited to play with these, and I'm really hoping that this prevents mold. I probably won't be able to say in this video because it's going to take a couple months for me to tell if it prevents mold or not. But I will definitely update you here on my channel. So subscribe if you'd like to see an update in a month or two. I never remember to say that. So we are going to be opening this today. We're going to play with it. We're going to be looking through the art dice and the generator. And we may or may not be making a little sketchbook or book. Again, this is Friday, so I'm maybe gonna have some time to play over the weekend, and then we'll go into next week and see where we're at. So yeah, let's have some fun. I think I'll move you from here to here, and we'll unbox this first and take all the lids off and take a look at what we have, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so it's Monday morning, and actually it is so early Monday morning that the sun is just coming up, which is why it's not super bright in here, but I don't have my light here is not working, so I'm going to have to figure something out with that, but we don't really need it right this second. What I'm popping in to say is sticking with the whole having fun and trying to break the art block. I was downstairs this weekend going through, I'm thinking of doing a small restock of like jewelry and maybe some, this is why I came up with this, maybe some small mini canvases so that they're more affordable if people want stuff for like Christmas presents. But I was downstairs looking through all my stuff, and I opened my resin drawer because I will occasionally make resin jewelry. I had some people asking for, I made some moon earrings in my last jewelry stock this spring, and they all sold out, and I had some people asking for more. So I was down there looking for these. This is what I used. But I started looking at all my wonderful glitters down there, and I don't do a ton of resin anymore. And I was looking at all of these and wondering, I love glitter and sparkles, and is there a way that I could combine it with my acrylic painting to make the paintings more me and more sparkly and more pretty? I don't know how archival they would be, but man, would it be fun. And I started thinking about, like, you know, gel mediums, matte mediums, stuff like that. So I might do some playing with that this week. And maybe I'll make some Christmas minis. I don't know. And then the other thing that I did, it was officially my birthday. This is probably going up way after my birthday, but it was officially my birthday a couple days ago. And on my birthday, I decided I would sign up for 2 classes. I had a no-buy for a long time on both classes and art supplies. I did get some art supplies at the end of August. It's mid-October right now. But I hadn't bought any classes. So for my birthday, I did 2 things. I bought a sketchbook class from an illustrator I follow on Instagram, and I'm having a blank on her name right now, but I'll link her name down below. I think her class is still open. And then she also recommended a site for live drawing to get better if you're trying to do better expressions in people and stuff. And I signed up for that as well. I got the year subscription. It was like $36. So I did my first live drawing session this weekend, actually right on my birthday as a way to, and I pulled out this old moleskin sketchbook, and I started drawing in it upside down, so I guess we'll just stick with it. And I just thought I'd show you a couple of the things I did real quick using that site. Maybe I could try to turn this other light on. There. Does that help, or is it harder to see? Hard to say. Maybe I can fix it in editing. Let's see if I can get you to zoom in a little bit. So I did all of these over, and hopefully I don't get censored. I tried not to be too graphic so that I could still show. But I've been practicing figures, and then I went outside and I did some live drawing with our dog and my husband and son while they play basketball in my husband's truck, and some more posing during basketball and the dog. So that was kind of my birthday weekend. Yeah. So, like I said, it's so early Monday. The sun is just coming up. I haven't done my yoga yet, which I need to go do, but I got kind of excited thinking about the glitter and minis and what I would like to do. I guess I could get one more thing to show you. Okay, so I don't know if this book is, here, let's zoom me back out. I don't know if this book is still in print. I bought this a very long time ago when I was still in art school. In the art school, well, it was just regular university, and I was majoring in fine art, studio art, with a minor in art history. But this was in the university gift shop, textbook store, whatever, back in the day. So this came out in 2002, and I bought it right when it was new. And it has sat on my shelf for all those years, and like you can see back in the day I had like some marks in here that I had, things I had marked, and I just picked it up and started reading it this weekend. And you can see my book light is still on here because I was reading it last night before bed. What is this? Huh. Anyway, I really enjoy this book, and I just started reading it, and I'm going to keep reading it. And in fact, there's a bookmark in here, so I'm going to mark where I was. I think I left off right here. If it's still in print, I'll link it down below. I don't know if it is, but I started thinking about like spirit and your art saying more, and it's been a hard year, and I was thinking about like protective spirits or guardian angels or guardian spirits or whatever you want to call them. No judgment, you know, whatever floats your boat. I'm not the kind of person that would. I think all religions or anything that brings you closer to something greater than yourself are valid and wonderful things. Is there sometimes bad stuff within some of them that causes like hate or whatever? Yes, there is. But I think overall, if you're trying to get closer to something that is greater than yourself, I think that is a good thing. I don't know how I got on that. Oh, I was talking about guardian spirits, guardian angels, whatever. So then, it's so convoluted. I hope you enjoy these kinds of videos. It was at like 10 o'clock last night, and then I went to Instagram and I Googled, not Googled, I guess you can't Google on Instagram. I searched angel acrylic paintings, and an artist named Amanda Evanston came up, and she makes little like 4x6 paintings every year at Christmas. And one year, well, a couple years she did angels, and then she did nutcrackers, and she did cardinals and stuff like that. And it looked like such a fun project, and she said she always prices them way lower than her regular art so that people can have a piece of her art. And she does it at Christmas as like, I mean, give as gifts and stuff too, and she gets some income, but she likes to price it way lower than her normal art so that people have a chance to afford something. And she makes them really small. They're all like 4x6. And her angels are very abstract and very loose and not really my style, but they sure looked fun. And I was thinking, well, maybe I could do something small like that and in my style. And I drew out a little, but I don't have any 4x6 canvases. And I did measure this out and drew a little 4x6. So I don't have any, but I did look around, and I do have, like I said, these 4 6x6. And I thought maybe, and she uses glitter glue in her work, and I don't know how archival that is, but I do think that using glitter in like some gloss medium or matte medium and then varnishing it with 2 layers of varnish, I don't see why that wouldn't be, I would think that would be okay. And I think I want to try it and maybe make some little sparkly, or birds. I do like to do birds a lot. I don't know. But like I said, we're following the fun this week, and we're trying to break through the art block. I did check on Blick, and if you want 4x6 canvases with their traditional profile, the Blick brand, and if you buy like 20, they're only like $1.88 a piece because they have bulk pricing. They start at like $3, and then if you get, I think like, I don't know, maybe I'll pop the numbers up, but if you buy like 10, they start at like $3.97 or $3.47, and if you buy 10, like the price goes down, and then if you buy 20, it goes down even more to, I think, $1.88, so maybe I could get some, I don't know. Well, maybe try doing these first and see how it goes, and if I enjoy it, And I may even do some tests with this on paper first, just for fun. Oh no, that was open. There's now glitter all over my desk. I have a funny story about me and glitter, but I can't tell it because it... I must have been carrying... I can tell it, I just have to edit it. I was walking through the house with some glitter and it was open and I made a trail of glitter through the house. And my husband was like, she just walks through here like a bad word fairy. I can tell everywhere she went. It was fun. The kids still find that funny. Anyway, now I'll have to clean this up. But there was my laugh for Monday morning. I'm gonna go do some yoga and then maybe we'll have some playtime. Maybe we'll do some testing on paper first and see what happens. Oh, and before I forget, of course, I'll link Amanda Evanston's Instagram down below. She has some interesting classes, it looks like, too. Like I said, her style is way looser than what I do, but I love the concept, so yeah, I'll link her down below. Okay, so I did this last night before bed. It is very early in the morning. I'm not entirely sure these thick areas are totally dry. I think that if I came back in another 5 hours, they would be totally dry, but I need to edit this video today. So I think that this cloudiness here is not actually going to be that cloudy when it dries, but if it is, it might be a better idea to get the soft gel matte than the heavy gel matte. So they are still sparkly in both the, but they're not as sparkly as that. I don't know how much of that you're getting. I mean, obviously it's matte, so it's not a gloss, and I definitely think that impacts the sparkliness, although it still has a pretty look, and maybe that's what you're going for. So I'm down in my basement workspace, and I'm going to put a layer of gesso on these. You can see I've been working on jewelry a little bit here too. But I'm going to open these up and put, I think, at least 1 coat, but maybe 2 coats of gesso on these. Yesterday I rolled the art dice before I even took the kids to school. They were running late, so I was waiting for them. I did that. I can't remember what the dice all said, but I do remember one was acrylic and one was landscape, so not super inspiring, but as we were driving to school, the sun was hitting the trees just right so that just the tops of the autumn leaves were illuminated. So I quick came home and did this with notes and this little quick watercolor sketch to remember. And then yesterday afternoon, I painted this acrylic painting. And I'm not sure if it's totally done yet or if I'm going to leave it loose and more impressionistic like this. Part of me wants it to be done. Part of me thinks I went too far already. I feel like I was prettier at an earlier stage. Part of me feels like maybe I should put, like, I don't know, something. So I'm still thinking about that. I did film all of this process, and it will probably be coming in a later video. Maybe in next week or the week after. But I suspect this video is already getting pretty full. So what I am going to do now is flip through this sketchbook idea generator and get an idea for the rest of this week to work on. Like I said, it is Wednesday afternoon. It's weird that there's holes in there. I guess they must have probably had to. So I am still feeling like an animal with its baby. You know how I like to do animals. I am kind of feeling like I want to paint an animal. Do I see any other animals? This is probably kind of cheating. We're going to keep the animal with the baby. I don't know if I'm feeling gouache today. Alright, medium of your choice. Let's do that. In case I change my mind before tomorrow. Hot pink, stone gray, and orange. Is it bad if I just pretty much pick the first things? That's kind of, this looks more of a blue to me. I'm kind of feeling it. I'm kind of feeling the pink, blue, and orange. I think this is going to be my prompt. I'm going to figure out something to do with animals, a medium of my choice, and this palette. And it's kind of late Wednesday. I might have to start it Thursday morning. And I ended up painting this, sticking with the whole idea of like guardian angels, guardian spirits. And I know like animals are an unconventional choice, but I have often felt like I have received messages from animals and, you know, amongst other things. But I think sometimes it's not how the message gets to you, but the meaning behind the message. However, this golden spot behind his head just looks like the moon, so I have to find a way to show that it's not the moon and more guardian spirit-ish. So like I said, this was a true mishmash video. There's just a bunch of different things all put together. Sticking with the, you know, enjoying things and enjoying fun. I drove the kids to school one day and the sun was coming up and it was just hitting the tops of the trees on either side of the road. And then the bottom half, and like all the grass and stuff in front of it was in shadow. And I really wanted to try to capture that. So I came home and I quick slapped I think it was a 12 by 16 canvas on my easel. And, these are the meat and paints from the owl video. I'll link that video down below if you want to check it out. They were still in my acrylic Stay Wet palette, although I dropped it at the end. And I think if I haven't shown it yet in the video, it's coming because I show you the destruction from dropping it. But like I said, following the inspiration, following the fun, following what I wanted to do, I just slapped this on the easel and I painted this I think in under an hour. I'm trying this thing where I set a timer for like an hour, and when the timer rings I'm done, and then I put it away and don't touch it for a while because I keep ruining paintings by going too far. And even as it is, I kind of feel like I went too far with this one. I kind of enjoyed it a little bit better in earlier stages, then it got worse, and then it got a little bit better again at the end, but it wasn't as good as that first stage. So yeah. But there's just a bunch of there's more art pieces coming up. This will be in a video either next week or the week after. I'll show you the whole process from like composition to watercolor sketch, and then this. I did it all in one day, and that video I think will be coming up in a week or two. I'm not sure what I'm going to call it yet though. And then the next thing I did was I have these little birch slices, and I actually bought them last year, but they got lost in shipping. By the time they came, they were too late to do anything with for Christmas last year. But I got them out last week, and my husband drilled holes in them for me. And they were all kiln dried so that they won't crack. And I'm thinking for sure at least some birds on these, and a pretty ribbon for an ornament. And again, I'm going to try to price these somewhat lower because I know times are kind of tough. But I'm thinking a shop update, early November, mid-November, possibly even late November. I don't know. Hopefully not that late. But these, if I get them done, will definitely be in there. And then the next thing I did was pack up these prints for my collector's nest here on Patreon. They get a print quarterly plus a handwritten card. Like I write a whole little letter to you in the card. There's only limited spots for these because I didn't want to feel overwhelmed trying to do a lot. And I think there might only be like 4 spots left. So if you're interested in that, like I said, I think there's only 4 spots left. And then it'll be closed to new people unless somebody leaves. So, okay, so you might have seen me struggle with this piece. I have a video up about it already. I just filmed it yesterday. And I didn't talk, I don't think I did, maybe I did. But I really struggled with this paper, and I have continuously struggled with this paper, and I'm not sure why. I keep thinking I'm gonna like it, and then I don't like it. So what I'm thinking is, could it be that I often put an acrylic wash down and then try to go over it with non-acrylic gouache? Like, this is acrylic ink. Could that be the problem? Basically what I'm saying is I'm gonna give this paper a chance and try again today, is my plan. So maybe this will be in a video, maybe it won't. So I just had a little idea in my head and I drew a very quick, very rough sketch. No pre-planning. I didn't bother because I didn't even know if I was going to like this or not. And this is a illustration, so I knew that if I wanted to, I could always save it with digital. So I drew this out, and then we're going to open the Himi gouache and get painting. Okay, so like I said, we're going to start by opening this. Now, I know these aren't light fast. I know they can be a little chalky. I know that they have a lot of binder in them, but they're still... Okay, wouldn't you know, my SD card was full just as I was opening these. So it looks like it comes with a couple of paintbrushes, so that is fun. Let's see. We'll open these up. I have no idea what I was saying when the card cut out. I know I was talking about how sometimes I don't feel like squeezing out tubes of paint. And how I also sometimes don't feel like using dried gouache. So I just decided to speed this up because there was a lot of sniffling and sneezing and not talking. So, and also, this is kind of boring to watch anyway. So, I have used these a couple times. It's only been like 2 weeks. I'm actually thinking of getting maybe like a gallon-sized Ziploc bag to keep this in, because one of the other problems I've had with Himi gouache is that it dries out. And I mean, this just isn't airtight. I'm sure they tried to make it as airtight as they could, but it does have problems with drying out, and I worry. So again, these are really fun to just play with. Are they light fast? No, we know they're not. Like I said, are they a little chalky? Do they have a lot of binder? Yes, they do. Are they super convenient and super fun? Yes, they are. One thing I will say is that they do reactivate a little bit easier than like some of the more professional brands, so be aware of that. Even though these are pretty much, marketed to beginners because of that, you may struggle a little bit. My number one tip for you for that is to go from thin to heavy. So start with very light layers, light washes, because the heavier it is, the more likely it is to reactivate. And also try not to mess with things too much. When you put a layer down, don't touch it, leave it be. If you have to go on top of it, do it in as few strokes as possible. Don't scrub back and forth. I've talked about all of these on here before. So I didn't do any pre-planning. I didn't do any pre-sketching. I don't really like how her eyes turned out. And I did end up scanning this in and then fixing her eyes and a few other things on my iPad. I think I filmed that. If I didn't film it, I for sure got out my iPad and show you the stuff that I did, so you'll be able to see it. But these are lovely gouache. They're a lovely regular artist gouache. They're not acrylic gouache, so keep that in mind. If you do struggle with your bottom layers reactivating a lot, you may want to check out acrylic gouache, although there are some really lovely things about being able to reactivate the bottom layers. The number one that I use it for is like blending and creating ingredients. If you kind of think of it as like oil paint, like you're working on a wet surface all the time, I find that helps, because it is, even though the bottom layer might be dry, it reactivates super easy, so it's as if you're working on a wet surface. So any of the tips for painting alla prima, which is all in, one sitting, with oil paint would be applicable to regular gouache and would help you out here. So let's see, I did this bottom layer of gouache and then I let it dry, and I did come in with some colored pencils and some Neocolor 2s and then some pen and ink, and then I was like, I had done this I think you can sort of tell. I started it during daylight, but, we're getting closer and closer to winter, so it's getting darker earlier and earlier. By the time it is around Christmas, it'll be getting dark at about 4:30 here, and the sun won't come up again until like 8 in the morning, so that's a lot of darkness, and I do have a lamp, but it is not a daylight lamp. The only daylight lamp I have is on my easel. So the colors felt not quite right. Also when, so I think when I just went through and did her face again, that was partially because the colors didn't feel right. And partially, like I said, that the darker colors can have a tendency to dry kind of chalky because there's not as much pigment and there's a lot of binder. So it was partially that as well. And like I said, I did try to fix it with traditional materials first. And there I just covered up the snow behind her left ear. I'm not sure why I did that. I do come in and fix that, I think, before I move to Procreate. But that is something that's nice about illustrations, like stuff that you don't ever plan to sell the original work, and you might want to sell prints or stickers, or it might be in a children's book or whatever. The lovely thing about that is you can always fix it in Procreate, so there's way less pressure, I find, than like working on canvas or something you might be thinking you'd like to sell, because I can't tell you how many times I've tried to fix something on something I wanted to sell and then just ended up totally ruining it. Which is also partially why I was talking about the early in the video where I was talking about how I will set a timer for like an hour, and when that rings I'm done and I'm not allowed to touch it for a few days or a week, and let my brain decide what I think about it before I try to fix anything. Here I am trying to fix things the next morning and looking at the colors and realizing it's not quite right. And also she looks a little older than I had intended her to look, although I really like the texture of the paint in the face, and I do feel like even though I tried to retain that in the Procreate version, I don't like it as much. So part of me kind of likes this version better, even though she looks more like a young woman than a child in this version. You can decide for yourself, I guess, when the time comes, because I'll be showing you that shortly. I can see that it's coming up on the timeline here. Here I'm using my dip pen and my favorite acrylic, not acrylic ink. It's not acrylic. It's Dr. P.H. Martin's Bombay India ink and Van Dyke Brown. It's my favorite ink. I did just get a new bottle of ink to try from a different brand that I've heard is really good, but as of right now, that one is my favorite one and the one that I use the most and have used for years and years and years. And I will try to remember to put that down below. And I still don't like this paper, and I don't think I ever said what it was. It's the Bahang Academy hot press paper. I like their cold press just fine. The hot press, no matter how many times I try to work with it, I'm never happy with it. It doesn't feel great working on it. I don't enjoy it. There's something I don't like about it. Okay, so I wanted to just check in over my weekend of trying to get back into the swing of art and cure my little art block. This is where I ended up with my Himi gouache set. And I like this, but I was just starting to feel really tired, so I decided to scan this in and make some corrections and finish it on my iPad. I think her eyes were just, I don't know. I had some issues with the face that I wanted to fix, and I could have just painted over this and kept going, but like I said, I was tired. So I grabbed my iPad, and this is the finished illustration that I did after I scanned it in. So you can see I really did redo the face, and looking at it now, I'm not so sure that I really like this one all that much better. I guess she looks more childlike than this one. This looks more like a teen or late teen maybe. And it is just a touch maybe more realistic. And I did put this in my children's book portfolio, art illustration portfolio already. So, you know, if that's what I was going for. But I added like some texture here and here. I brightened up some of the white. I added in some more snow texture. But it was mostly just her face that I wanted to fix. So those are the two finished illustrations. I do still kind of like this one. I don't know. And it is Monday morning, and it's a mess in here, but I'm still really exhausted. I don't know. I'm not feeling great. So, we'll see how far I get today. I'm gonna work on Patreon content, because, like I said, it feels comforting to, like, sit down and write an art journaling prompt, and sometimes I'm just, like, right now I'm just feeling too tired to even, like, set up to paint. So, I think I'm gonna go work on that for a little bit, and then we'll see where I get. I'd like to do some art today. I feel like I should, to try to get back into the swing of it, but I just don't know if I have the energy, so I will check back in later. This was a super quick sketch with me that I did over on Patreon, and that was about it. So if you need a little more help with the whole art block thing, I'm going to recommend that other video that I put up, specifically how I broke the worst art block of my life. And I think there's going to be a card popping up on here or here that you can click to take you right to that specific video if you want to watch it. Otherwise, I will link it down below. So check that out and let me know what you think.